Hong Kong, home to one of the world's most iconic skylines, Li Ka Shing came to when he was just a young boy in the early 1940s.
Born into an extremely poor family almost a century ago, family fled Hong Kong during war. Lost his father to tuberculosis when he was a teenage boy. Became a laborer by working around 16 hours a day to take care of his family. Lived most of his early life as a refugee and in rented apartments. But now, net worth $31 billion. Current age 94 years old. Li Ka Shing was once a poor refugee boy with no formal school, but now the richest real estate tycoon in the world and one of the most influential people in China. Sir Li Ka Shing is a Hong Kong business magnate, investor, and philanthropist. Ka Shing is the 23rd richest person in the world, and he is the senior advisor for CK Hutchison Holdings. Li Ka Shing is the world's leading port investor, operator, and developer of the largest health and beauty retailer in Europe and Asia. This is the business story of Li Ka Shing. Li Ka Shing was born in Chaozhou, in China, on the 29th of July, 1928. Nobody knew about the family because they were extremely poor. His family was of modest means. In fact, his father headed a local primary school, just making small money to feed his family. Ka Shing grew up in a period of great political turmoil in China. When he was born, China was under the protectorate of the Ming Dynasty. There was a time when he was growing up when China was under the leadership of nationalist leaders. Then, he spent most of his life under communist leadership. An interesting thing is that he was able to thrive under Congress leadership because he had an extremely good relationship with the Chinese leadership. During the war, his family fled to Hong Kong in 1940 after the Japanese invasion of China. After some period of time, Ka Shing's father became sick with tuberculosis when he was a refugee. As a result, he later died a painful death when Ka Shing was just 15 years old. This really devastated the family for years, but this never weighed him down to pursue his dreams and careers. Li worked 16 hours per day for a plastics trading company for many years before starting his own company, Cheung Kong, in 1950. When he was working as a laborer in the plastic industry, he would overwork zealously without much food or unnecessary spending, just to make some substantial savings for himself and his poor family. The money kept accumulating over time. This was unbelievable to many. As he said, "Some time ago, despite my achievements, I can still remember poverty. I told my children and grandchildren that the fruit that you eat will never taste as beautiful as the fruit that I ate during the turmoil of war. You will never cherish it as much as I do." Li Ka Shing founded a plastic manufacturing company in Hong Kong with personal savings and funds borrowed from relatives. He read trade publications and business news a lot, where he learned many new strategies to start a business and keep it moving profitably. His business thrived very well when he decided to supply the world with high-quality plastic flowers at low prices. The market for plastic flowers boomed very fast. That means more sales and profits for his company. 8 years later, he decided to purchase a site and develop his own factory building. During this time, there was a political unrest and chaos everywhere. As a result of the chaos, people fled to Hong Kong. Li believed the political crisis would be temporary and property prices would eventually rise. He started buying land and properties at a cheaper rate from the fleeing residents. They needed money to relocate. He had the money. They could not relocate their properties. He needed the properties. Then he offered them money in exchange of the properties. What a smart young businessman. Luckily, his plan worked. This was the beginning of his real estate smart deals. In 1971, he named his real estate Cheung Kong Holdings. Li Ka Shing stated on a number of occasions that his goal is to be better than the Jardines-owned Hong Kong land as a leading developer, and he meant what he said. It actually happened. By 1972, CK Holdings was listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Profits kept coming in, and he kept expanding his business by acquiring more properties. Throughout the late 70s and 80s, Li expanded his business by acquiring companies around the world. In 1979, Li became the first Chinese businessman to buy one of the largest British-owned local trading companies when he purchased a controlling interest in Hutchison, Whampoa. Under his leadership, Hutchison emerged as the world's largest independent operator of ports. The company also bought out Husky Oil in Canada and set up mobile phone operations in Australia, Europe, and the United States. Among Li's other ventures was an internet service, Tom.com, that proved highly popular in China. For Li, making money involved identifying potentially profitable startups before they became lucrative, investing in them, and then selling when the properties hit peak value. Just like what he did with Orange, that was later sold for $14.6 billion. That was massive. In his words, "First of all, I am an optimist. When you study hard and work hard, your knowledge grows, and it gives you confidence. The more you know, the more confidence you gain. When I was 10 years old, I lost my schooling, but I still had plenty of hope to return to school." His real estate businesses became highly successful, and in 1984, the company also moved its legal domicile from Hong Kong to another British overseas territory. In 1997, Li Ka Shing shifted his business headquarters to Bermuda, anticipating the impending changes that would come about by Hong Kong as it was being a sovereign nation for mainland China. Over the next few years, Ka Shing expanded his real estate empire to many other nations around the globe. He also became involved in a number of other industries, such as retail, asset trading, and technology. Li Ka Shing's massive wealth is mostly from his stakes in companies, which include real estate developer Cheung Kong Property Holdings, Canadian energy company Husky Energy, and Hong Kong conglomerate CK Hutchison Holdings. In 2015, he reorganized his companies and now has 30% of CK Hutchison and Cheung Kong Property. His other holdings include Cheung Kong Infrastructure and Hutchison Telecom Hong Kong. Li was also an early investor in video conferencing company Zoom. His Zoom stake is worth around $6.5 billion. His two sons, Victor Li and Richard Li, are also prominent figures in the Hong Kong business scene. They are both Canadian citizens. You must know, and understand your business like the back of your hand. Otherwise, your company would be here today, gone tomorrow. This is our takeaway that might help you. 1. Accept struggles as part of the journey. 2. Keep your eyes open for new opportunities. 3. Never stop creating. 4. Believe in yourself. 5. Give something back to the world and reap the financial rewards. You can be the next Moneybags.